This video is probably gonna run probably more than a half hour. Probably gonna have to do it in a few parts because I really want to hear. Well, maybe not. Maybe not, because we're probably not going to have to deal with the whole thing. But I found it quite funny, this CBC article this morning on the Current, or this show on the Current, because it's actually a radio broadcast, the Current. Actually, Anna Maria Tremonti sometimes actually does a pretty decent job. She can be a little bit objective at times, depending on the topic she's covering. But for the most part, she's a collectivist and a feminist, so she's more than willing to throw lots of people under the bus if it suits her own personal preference or ideology. Anyways, let's start and listen to what she's got to say here about this servers fed up with revealing dress code sexism at work. So, like Hooters chicks that got to wear, skimpier tops or smaller skirts and stuff to appeal to the customers, right? But I mean, if you go to take a job at fucking Hooters or one of these places, you're doing that willingly. I mean, not like Hooters people or one of these fucking companies are coming and say, "You got to work for us, motherfucker." It's voluntary shit. If you go in to do that fucking job, I mean, think about it even, as a guy, right? If I was into doing retail, customer service kind of work, restaurant type work or whatever, or pubs, well, there's all kinds to pick from. But if I chose to go into one where I have to wear a kilt with my cock hanging out or something, well, it would be kind of stupid for me to afterwards, once I start the job, go in through the whole thing, applying, resume, the interview and the whole process. By the time you get hired, at that fucking point, you better fucking know what your goddamn job description is. Otherwise, you're a fucking idiot. But once you get to the point where you are now hired, you're on the payroll, and your job description says that, hey, we want you to, wear skimpy tops and maybe some bustier that make your tits all like or whatever, or maybe have a nut hanging out. No, but once you take on a job, a position where, and that job entails that, yeah, you got to kind of look a little sexy to appeal to the customers. Well, don't fucking then turn around and think you're going to turn around later on and say, "I'm being oppressed, man." What kind of bull fucking shit is that? See, this is the whole fucking social justice bullshit, right? Nobody wants to take any fucking, nobody wants to accept responsibility for their own actions, their own fucking choices. Everyone wants to put the blame on everyone else. "Oh, I was forced to do this." Da, da, da. Bull fucking shit. Most of the girls, I've been to these places. And for good reason. Because the guy that's doing the hiring is smart. He wants good looking, maybe a little bit busty. Or you don't even have to be real big, but if it's visually appealing to the customers, that's a good hiring practice for this kind of occupation. But let's hear what Anna Maria, which is, she's moving on in her years. Not so attractive. As far as I'm concerned, anyways, I don't find her very attractive. So maybe this kind of, goats her a little bit. Is this a personal opinion thing? Well, let's find out. Let's listen to what she's got to say.
And this is the Current.
We have to wear like tight, sexy clothing, and being told your makeup isn't good enough, and being told your hair isn't good enough. And when I worked at a mall, they would send us out shopping if our uniform they didn't think it was
shopping
that day, or if we weren't wearing shoes with high enough heels, and to be like, what, we're not.
Oh no, I had to go shopping.
Buy something different, or your skirt's too long. Can you buy something shorter, or if you're not wearing enough jewelry, they'd be like, you need your 3 accessory pieces, more bling, or things that are going to draw attention.
Bling?
Well, that's a young Alberta woman who works, as you may have guessed, in a restaurant. She was speaking anonymously with CBC in Edmonton about the kind of
anonymously
that she and her peers are expected to stick to at their jobs. Stories such as hers inspired a group of University of Alberta students to start tracking sexism in one of the places where it can hide in plain sight in society today, the hospitality sector. They launched a website for posting anonymous reviews of local restaurants and not for reviews of the food. Tempo Sabatier is one of the students who set up the site.
Like, originally when we set out, we were hoping to have a database of reviews of restaurants, but we really realized that all we can do is provide a platform for people to share stories that they may not feel safe or comfortable with sharing under their own name, and also just starting a conversation. We've had a few people say, like, thank you for making people talk about this, because it's something we all tend to just kind of acknowledge and be like, yeah, serving industry is sexist, whatever. So instead we're saying, no, actually that's kind of messed up, we're going to talk about this.
Okay, student Tempo Sabatier.
See, like, I mean, you know where these girls are getting most of their shit, that kind of mentality from, don't you? I mean, if you want to, just do a quick Google search and look at what the demographics is of in our teaching culture of whether it's primary school, secondary, post-secondary. I mean, we're talking it's predominantly. I think the statistics was 8 or 9 out of 10 teachers nowadays are women. And I mean, for the type of woman that wants to go into a teaching career where you put all the other stuff on hold and go into a profession, blah, 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 and where you want to shape and mold the minds of the... I mean, these are these aren't the type of people that are going to go into these kinds of jobs. They're, yeah. These are collectivists. These are people that want to go into authoritarian positions and where you're part of the government, you're part of the establishment. So yeah, if if you see your counterparts as a female out there, maybe titties out there all hanging out, shit, making more money maybe than you even do because they get lots of rewarding tips and moved up on the pay scale because they're enticing a lot of customers and bringing them in. Well, I suppose it might piss you off a little bit. Or if you're one of these feminazis, I call them, that can't stand to see a woman that actually want to, use their bodies, the appeal of their bodies, what they're given, And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. If you got a Lamborghini, I don't see anything wrong with wanting to cruise in that Lamborghini. People are going to fucking appreciate and admire the beauty of that thing. I mean, it's a beautiful machine. Just like some women that have beautiful bodies. I mean, just because you might slightly expose some aspects of it and cause it to have such appeal that people will... I mean, come on, ladies. Guys. Fuck. I've been them a few times. I'll buy a few extra drinks for... you get the right kind of girl that comes serve at the table. It's... I mean, I still have my objective mind, so nobody can pull a whole lot over me. But yeah, if you're a hot little number and you're really nice to me, yeah, you have the that ability, you have the magical capacity that I'll probably buy a few more drinks and maybe in some food and tip a little better if you're looking good. What's wrong with that? What's fucking wrong with that? The fucking part that I find hilarious about every aspect of this is, what's the most popular, if you ask women, one of the most popular from all age ranges, mind you, young, medium, old, all in between. What's one of the most popular novels / movies that anyone's have, the female ladies have? 50 Shades of Grey. Woohoo! Well, what the fuck? I mean, come on. How do you try to square that peg where the ladies seem to love that whole, being objectified by the rich, well-connected, good-looking, right? They don't mind in that aspect of it. Hell, they'll sell their soul to the next fucking guy as long as you got a few bucks to take care of shit. But, if I got to work in an environment where there might be some ugly guys that are looking at me, not just good-looking guys, I don't like that. Well, no, sorry, ladies. You chose to go into a career where you get to use your physical and sexual appeal to make money. That's why you went into that job, right? The tips are going to be based on your, not just how you present yourself physically, but of course you still have to be able to serve and be courteous and, you know, be clean and, you know, time conscious, right? You don't want to make a guy or anyone or your customers wait forever for whatever they're trying to get their food. But you went into this job knowing full well what the whole shit was all about. And you can actually walk away from it and reap a lot of rewards. But what I see is someone that goes in and is going to be interviewed by, like this girl here, what? Maybe she, I won't even begin to guess what her reason it is, but this is all subjective. This is someone's opinion that, well, listen, lady, if you don't like how you're being treated in that particular occupation, you're not forced to take on that occupation. Leave. But don't insult the people that choose to fucking go into that career. Just like prostitutes. Yeah, I think being a prostitute's weird, man. I mean, it's a little fucked up because, I mean, as much as I know they come in handy for some guys, but Jesus, these girls, I mean, as a truck driver for 8.5 years, if you realize some of the guys that these girls fuck, I mean, that's a commitment to your work. Jesus, sometimes like some trucker, maybe 400 or 500 fucking pounds, you know, sometimes I don't even force them to shower and shit. It's like, holy fuck. Listen, give mad props to anyone that would want to even deal with that shit, but they're doing it voluntarily. I think they're stupid, and I've never, you know, in the 8.5 years that I was on the highway driving truck, long haul, I never dealt with any of them because, well, luckily I have a good wife at home and I can get it whenever I want. I don't need to worry about that shit. But, I mean, Jesus, you know, as someone that likes that, I can understand why, yeah, it's pretty cool. You know, these girls are willing to do some pretty fucking crazy stuff for a guy to make a profit. And while, you know, as a compassionate, moral human being, I would say, listen, ladies, you're better than that. Don't do that shit, man. You're much better than that. But if they choose to do that for whatever reason goes on in their mind, I'm not going to insult them for it. You know, they're doing something and they're being productive and they're not being parasites, for fuck's sakes. Even these, that's another thing I always said. These girls, when you go to these truck stops and shit, and they're out there selling their bodies to these losers, right? As much as it's like, oh man, why would you want to do that? But at the same time, it's like, holy fuck, they're entrepreneurs. These are free market capitalists, actually. They're more free market capitalists than most people in the business fucking sector. Most people that you talk about on fucking Wall Street and shit couldn't begin to fucking compete fairly in comparison to some of these ladies. They're working with what they got and doing good and making money off of it. Good for them. Don't disrespect them. Don't hate them. Don't deride them. Don't insult them. You know, I appreciate the fact that some people, I mean, and that's another thing. Not all the times is it some sexual deviant. Maybe a guy has a confidence issue. That's the only way he knows how he can, you know. Good for these girls. Good for you ladies. Good for them. But for these fucking uptight fucking aristocrat type feminazi ladies, especially like Anna Maria, they could never do what you ladies do. Ever. They probably couldn't do that when they were in their younger years. Maybe they didn't have the body or the face, the looks, whatever. I don't know what the reason, but if they did, or they didn't have to, maybe they chose something, whatever reason, but that doesn't give them any, they don't get to sit on any perch and look down upon the ladies that chose a different career path. I mean, all Anna Maria does, I mean, you know, I don't know how much education she has, but you know she's full on status and went through the whole process, but you're just someone that talks smack on the radio. I do that now. Well, I mean, I'm not on the radio, mainstream radio, but I mean, you know, look at me. I mean, you could podcast or blog. Nowadays, what's the requirement? Huh? What's the requirement to do what you do, Anna Maria? Huh? Have a microphone? Oh, that's easy nowadays. You know, have a platform? Oh, another one's very easy. So, yeah, you haven't done anything that's exceptional. We can all do what you do. Yay. Bravo. Give these ladies some respect. Let them do what they do. Appreciate them for what they do. And make sure that you respect everyone's ability to do whatever they need to do to get through life. As long as they're not being forced to, as long as they're not being coerced, respect the individual. That's what I'm all about. Respect for the individual. This is the Canadian Libertarian, and I love liberty.